20 bucks. 20 bucks. Down the line for 20 bucks. You keep on playing, but nobody's paying. Hi guys, it's Jabor from Montreal, and I'm Maggie, Mrs. Calabash. Come into my kitchen. It seems ages since I last spoke to you. Things have happened. The computer completely died on us. And so Derek's got a it's only just off the line, up-to-date computer. So fingers crossed, we've ironed out all the grimbles and everything else, and it's so nice to be back with you. Today, it's one of my favourites. It's very, very quick and easy. In fact, it seems too simplistic, but it really works. Now, to begin with, I'm going to make some homemade pesto. This is going to make some pinwheels with puff pastry to go with a quick 3-bean chili. So I've got my food processor, the basil, which has been washed. Oh, we want to put that in there. It would help maybe if I cut it up a little bit. We don't want to waste anything. Garlic. That's nice Parmesan cheese and pine nuts. Now these are, I know, a little bit expensive, but a little goes a long way with pine nuts, and they last. And you can't really make pesto without pine nuts. So we're going to grate all this down in the food processor. It makes a noise. There we are. I'm going to just, some of the garlic's not quite as processed as I would like, so just give me a minute. Now, whilst the motor's running, I've got olive oil, 1/3 of a cup of olive oil, which I'm going to drizzle in that, and that's all there is to making pesto. Let's have a look. Remove this. I'm going to put this into a bowl. I'm trying to hurry because we need to get the puff pastry in the oven to cook. So let's just put this in here like this. It smells gorgeous. But you see, it's so quick and easy to make pesto. And you can put in, you know, if you want a variation, put something in. A friend of mine in Wales, all he made was pesto. And he had this little factory which was about the size of our dining room and kitchen put together, and he designed all the equipment, and he just roasted the pine nuts, and it all went on a conveyor belt, and all he manufactured was pesto, and it was gorgeous pesto. Now this is rolled out puff pastry, so there's not an awful lot there. I'm only going to do one piece because there's only Derek and I, and we want to have I like to eat these nice and fresh, so I'm just going to brush around the edge, and I'll keep the rest of the pesto, if we've got any left over, in the fridge, and we'll eat it with some nice spaghetti or pasta of some description. So let's put the pesto on there. I brushed the sides with egg so that they will actually seal. I'm not going to have any left over, look. I like to be able to taste the pesto. There we are. These make great appetizers as well, but I do like to eat these with the chili. When I first gave Derek this dish, he sort of said, ugh, I don't think I fancy that, but it worked. And then just roll, we're going to make like a Swiss roll. Roll it up like that. We want that to seal like that. Whoa, it's escaping a little bit, but let's just sit it like that. I have a baking sheet with some parchment paper. I'm just going to sprinkle it with cold water. Now the reason we do this is to get steam, and that helps the puff pastry to rise. So cut them as, yeah, I'm not going to waste that. That's the end bit. I don't waste it. So half an inch, whatever. And these take about 10 minutes to cook. With the puff pastry, I find I find that a sheet of puff pastry, it takes, in a fairly cool kitchen, it takes about an hour to defrost. If you defrost it too early, it goes all wet and soggy, and it's hard to handle. It's a bit of a, I know sometimes it says defrost overnight in the refrigerator. Well, I tried that once and I couldn't handle the wretched stuff. So there we are. But it's not worth making you, I don't think it's worth making your own puff pastry. I can, and I have done, but between each rolling, you have to let it rest for half an hour. And it turns into an all-day job. So there we are. Look, we've got those. Let's go back and put them in the oven. There we are. So it's 1:15. Yes. They should be ready for about 1:30. Now, we need to clean the board. Ugh, look. Don't put your knife in the sink. I keep telling you this, but it leads to accidents, as I know. There we are. Let's just get rid of that. Wash the board. And now we're going to make the chili. And this is really just an assembly. It's so easy. So let's go back to the stove and let's have a look at the chili. I've got a pan here, a pot. It's all in one. Oh, I've got two there. There we are. Let's just put that on low, and you'll notice the recipe said whole tomatoes. Well, I haven't got whole tomatoes. I've got diced. I thought I'd got a can of whole, and when I look at it, it's crushed tomatoes, and you can't use crush for this. It's too. It really is too sour. So, I mean, diced tomatoes. I'm not going to go out and buy another tin of tomatoes just because one says diced and one says whole. So, I don't strain them. And here, look, in here, I've got chickpeas, butter beans, and red kidney beans. And these have all been drained and washed. It's very important to drain and wash the beans because whatever they're packed in, it has a nice flavour, but it can cause awful flatulence. My stepdaughter, oh, she was 17, 18, finished high school and said she didn't want to go to university straight away. And so her dad said, okay, what are you going to do? And she said, I'm going to go to Israel. Now, this is a good Catholic girl. So he said, oh, good. What are you going to do in Israel? I'm going to work on a kibbutz. Okay. So off she went to Israel, had a marvellous time on the kibbutz. But it was a cafeteria, because of course they grew all their own food, and a beautiful cafeteria. And she went along and said, I'll have some of that, some of that, some of that, and some of that. Thank you, and took the plate away. Now, she turned vegetarian whilst in Israel. And when she came home, I said, Karen, what are you going to eat? Oh, I can eat. I said, you don't cook. I know, well, I can eat red kidney beans and garlic in tomato sauce. And my late husband, her dad, sort of said, if I see another red kidney bean in tomato sauce and smell the smell, because she didn't wash them, I'm going to scream and I'm going to ban her from the house. Now, that was probably nearly 40 years ago. And she's still a vegetarian. I lent her a vegetarian cookery book, which I haven't got back. She's still using it, as she's a great cook, and it worked out very well. So, this is a really good, and the beans have got all the second-class protein in for you. Now, this is a jalapeno pepper from the garden. Just sweet pepper, chopped. So you see, it really is just an assembly job. Tomato sauce. And I've got curry powder. Sorry, I don't. I have chili powder and cumin, and that's Mrs. Calabash chili powder. I will give you the recipe. Now, it's not too hot, so it just depends. You can always add a little more, but you can't take it away. So I would start off with maybe a tablespoon, or even less, and then at the end of cooking, or whilst it's cooking, you can add a little bit more. I've got the chili powder out here, so that I can add some if I need it. And we're just going to let this come up to heat and heat through. Now, when you're cooking beans, always make sure that they really come up to temperature. Bring them up to the boil and keep them there for a few minutes, and that kills any bacteria or anything. I'm going to taste that. See if it just needs a little seasoning in there. And I can't tell at the moment whether it's going to need any more chili powder because it's not been absorbed by everything. It tastes good, but for my taste, it needs a little more seasoning. And this is some Mrs. Calabash seasoning. So that's 3 salt to 1 pepper. I like to add seasoning as it's cooking, and then it's absorbed by the ingredients. I'm going to put a little more salt in there, a little salt on its own. Doesn't need any more pepper, but it's lacking a little bit of salt. There we are. And we will put the top on that. let it gently cook for a few minutes. Let's look in the oven and see how things are cooking. Not quite. I've got this on at 400. I'm just going to put it up a little bit. My oven is slow. When you check in the temperature of an oven, you can go 10 degrees either side. So it could be 400. You might need to put it at 410, or it can be 390. So it just adds, just get to know your oven. But mine is a little bit slow, and some mornings seems to be slower than others. Anyway, let's go back and have a look to see what we're going to serve with the chili. Now this is, oh excuse me, I have to go and wash my hands again now. I think the chili powder's got to me. Let me go and wash my hands. This dish, actually, the chili, is very good. Sometimes I serve it as a side, and it goes really, really well. So you can either make it a main course or eat it as a side. Today, I'm doing it as a main course with the pesto pinwheels, but as I say, eat it, serve it as a side dish, and it's great. And it keeps, it tastes, quite honestly, as a lot of chilies, it tastes even better the day after because all the flavours have mingled. So now we need to make what goes with it. And this is a little sour cream and some salsa. Make sure we get everything out. And some salsa. This is a medium salsa, it's all I got in. So again, I'm going to make it, taste it, and if I need to add a little bit of oomph to it, I'm going to. So in summer, of course, you could make your own salsa. We're just going to mix these together. And I think, I'm almost sure, that that is going to need just a little bit of help because the sour cream takes away from the spiciness of the salsa. So let me have a little taste. It's a bit insipid. Let me have a look at it and see what I can do to it. This needs turning down a little bit. Let me go and give it a stir. Sorry, Derek, I didn't tell you I was going back. I'm going to take the top off now because I want that just to thicken up a little bit. We've got it coming up, so let's just reduce the sauce a little bit. And we want to make sure that the peppers are cooked. But you see, it's a lovely, lovely colourful dish, especially when the weather's cold. Okay, so what should I put in it? I've got some chili powder and I've got some chili flakes. So let's go and do some experimenting. That will bubble away quite nicely. This is my own chili powder, which I will put the recipe up. You see, look at my lovely labelling. I can't see at the moment. My eyes are waiting for a cataract operation, both of them. And so with the normal labelling, I can't read it. So I write it in something that's large. I can always improve it. Just look, just a little like that. and just we're going to just quick like that. I keep these by the stove because I very often just need to spice something up a little bit. Again, if I was making this to serve for someone, I would make this beforehand. So again, the flavours can all intermingle. Let's see. That's better. It's just got, you know what, I'm just going to put a little more of this in. It's there. You don't want to be overwhelmed by spice. Now, if you can't tolerate spice, leave it out. But I have a very high tolerance of spice. I used to teach before the virus arrived, what's for dinners. And there's one particular group I've known for about 18 years. And they couldn't, none of them could tolerate spice. And I used to go and they used to say, what's the spice? And I'd put a little tiny piece in, you know, just no, that's too hot. But, and I had another group, which I taught each week. And gradually, as the years went by, they became more and more spice tolerant. And if I was looking at something and I thought, it needs a bit of bump, somebody would yell out, get out the hot sauce. So they knew me very well. I really miss everyone. We used to have a great time, but maybe we can get back to it when everything's finished. Just clean off your dishes. And I've got some chopped cilantro there. I'm just going to put a little cilantro in just to make it look a bit more pretty, like that. It looks a bit bland. And don't forget, you eat with your eyes. I'm always telling students, I'm not the world's best presenter of food, but make it look attractive to your best of your ability. Let's go back and look in the oven. I'm going to give those a few more minutes. They're almost there, but just a few more minutes. Let's have a look at the chili and a taste now. You see how it's just thickened up a little bit? There. You can use any sweet pepper. I had some green and some orange peppers in. Red pepper goes extremely well. But don't forget, if you've got green pepper, it's going to contrast with the red of the tomato and the beans. So let's have a little taste of that. It's getting hot. Yes. It goes in the mouth and then it just starts to warm as it goes down, so that's fine. Let's turn that off. We'll leave the pesto in for a few more minutes. Whilst I'm dishing this up, then the pesto will be ready. So come back to the, whoa, that's hot. So let me get a pan stand. Take that over like that. So it is quite nice actually. if I'm going to put this in a serving dish, but if you've got a nice family gathering, very informal, serve it, put some cilantro on the top and serve it in your cooking dish like that, because it's just make sure that it's protected, the table's protected, and put a ladle and let people help themselves. So I'm actually going to, I've got my trusted serving dish. I bought this for my mum when I first went to university in 1960. So it shows you how old it is. There was a beautiful Scandinavian store just down the road, and oh gosh, it cost me so much money. I dread to think. There we are. I just wanted to take a little out so that I could handle it. It's going to, and it has overflowed. Ah, it's hot. Let's have a look. So we've got a clean up job to do. I've got 2 dishes and I looked at it and I thought, yeah, I think that one will do. I miscalculated. Not unusual. There we are. I'm not going to move it. Can you see that, Derek?
A little bit.
Oh, you'd want it moved. It would, wouldn't it? There we are. Is that okay?
Looks very good.
What?
Went over the edge again.
Oh no!
Yeah, trying to escape.
Oh. Ah. It happens in the best regulated circles, you know. Where? Oh dear. It is. I'm going to have to stand it on a plate when we've finished. And let's have a look. We need to put a little cilantro on the top because that really does make a difference. It adds to it. There we are. And you can stir that in. Now let's have a look in the oven. Lovely. Just cooked. Put it on there. Ooh, that's hot. Now then, where's my dish? I've lost my dish. Oh, there we are. This comes of not working for a while. You get disorientated. Lovely puff pastry. You can see the cook through. Look, that one's not got much in, but that's okay. I like it. And we're going out. So please enjoy this. It's all piping hot. And I will see you again next week. And don't forget, go to Mrs. Calabash Cooks on Facebook.